Hello, everyone. Is everyone else having the issue with Slack being down today? That's causing some fun issues. I'll give a second for everyone to join. Everyone can hear me okay, though? Or are we having any technical issues? Okay, great. Thanks, Natasha and Juliana. Awesome. Well, welcome. Happy Wednesday. And this is actually our first webinar of the new year. So happy 2025 for anyone who's a regular webinar watcher of Statusphere. So excited to kick things off with a good topic. There's always so much to talk about with this topic. So while we're waiting for everyone to join, I do have a couple polls that I'm curious what you guys have to say with that. So Sam, if you want to pop up those polls, curious like how many influencers you guys plan to work with in the next 6 months. As you know, a big topic around social SEO will be to do with influencers and how you can optimize their content to rank in social SEO. So I'm curious in terms of how much, what you all plan to focus on, what volume you guys are going to be at in terms of that. So cool. Seems like a majority are in the 21 to 50 range. We have some in the 51 to 100 and a couple in the 100 plus to 500 range. Awesome. And I hope to, I know it looks like we have a few of our Statusphere users on the call. So welcome. Exciting to see you guys too. But yeah, cool. Interested to see that breakdown. So it looks like we have a range from a few that are doing quite a bit of volume down to some that are maybe just getting started or working with some more specific macros in terms of influencers. I think we have one more poll too when it comes to thinking about SEO, social SEO specifically. Sam, if you want to pop that one up. Give it a second. Or I think we did. Oh, there it is. Oh, good. Cool. Both pop up at the same time, so you guys can do it. I am curious who has added social SEO to your strategy so far, because we've been talking about at Statusphere, we've been talking about social SEO for a little bit. I think we were one of the first to really talk about social SEO a lot. And if you followed me for a while, it's a topic I am very passionate about, and it's very exciting to me. But I'm curious to see how many are doing that. Oh, it looks like quite a few are already incorporating this as strategy. That's awesome. I feel like it's still early days of social SEO, so there's a lot of opportunity. It's kind of like the early days of Google, of ranking in the search. And in the early days, there's always a lot of opportunity. So it's exciting to be able to capitalize on that and constantly learn with all the updates we have. So I'm really excited to dive in today. For those of you who are not incorporating it yet, we'll definitely give you a lot of ways to get started. And for those of you who are incorporating it, we have some even advanced tips and some recommendations and even some case studies of where we're seeing it work really well. So I'm excited to dive in and show that to you. And then just some housekeeping as we get started. This is going to be recorded, so you don't have to worry about taking too many notes. A recording of this will be sent in the next several hours. You'll get it once it processes right to your inbox, so you can share it with any other team members that maybe can't make it, or if you need one to go back and review some of the slides, it will be in the recording. So that's one piece. And then I'll try to leave some time at the end for some Q&A. So feel free to drop those questions in the chat as you think of them. And then at the end, we'll try to get through as many as we can. So with that, I'm excited to kick off. So my name is Kristen, founder, CEO of Statusphere. My background is I actually started as a content creator first. I was way back in the day, I was a blogger. Back in 2010, I started a blog, grew it to the point that I started collaborating with brands. And then once I graduated college, I flipped over to the brand side. And for the last 10 plus years, I've been managing influencer campaigns for brands and influencer communities and networks, blogger networks, which turned into influencer, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, the whole span of it. So I've really seen how this has evolved as both a creator and as a brand. And really, I created Statusphere as a way for brands to scale, creator and influencer marketing. Because I, as an influencer marketer myself, was having a lot of pain points scaling beyond even like 10 to 20 creators a month. I wanted a platform that could get us to hundreds and really use data-driven data-driven techniques to really optimize the campaigns too. So that's what we've done with Statusphere. We have an amazing team. Actually, half of our team are even, a lot of our team members are creators themselves. So we really understand that creator relationship, and we've built a platform that really helps you scale and optimize. So with that, I'll tell you a little bit about Statusphere. So we do help brands scale micro-influencer marketing in a fraction of the time. And that big problem we solved for was the problem I had as an influencer marketer, which was that it was just so time consuming. It took thousands of hours to find the right creators, get the content at scale, handle the contracts, payments, then taking that content and implementing it in UGC as well. All of that was super, super time consuming. So with Statusphere, we take those thousands of hours, we turn it into 1 hour. And we do that by allowing you to set up a campaign in 1 hour, whether you're trying to get 20 creators posting or 1,000. It's only an hour of setup. And Statusphere automates everything from the guaranteed content to the fulfillment with the creators in mind, all the way to the analytics is designed for the content. So if you are interested in that, definitely hit us up. We'd love to give you a demo and see if the platform is a good fit for you. And for all of our current customers that are on this call that I see as well, welcome, and we're excited to chat through ways you can continue to leverage Statusphere for social SEO as well. And with that, we do, we've worked with over 100, we've facilitated over 100,000 brand creator matches. So we have tons of data. So when I get into that optimization piece, I should note that this is where that data comes from. And we've worked with over 700 brands, variety of industries. But yeah, one I wanted to talk about was one of our new and improved features of Statusphere is that we did launch our social SEO. Is that on the next slide? New feature update. We launched our keyword targeting as well. So you can actually input your SEO keywords into Statusphere and we help you rank for them. So today we're going to talk about whether you're using Statusphere or not, a bunch of tools that you can use to start ranking in social SEO. But if you are using Statusphere, we do have that feature baked in where you can turn on social SEO optimization, put your keyword in, and our system will optimize and ensure that all the creators are using that keyword in a way to help you rank. So if you are interested in seeing a demo of that, or maybe you got a demo of our product a while before and want to see this new feature, definitely hit us up. But that being said, today what we're going to cover, and I think I put these in kind of a backwards order, so let me go back. Today what we're going to cover is the state of social SEO, how social SEO works, so really go through how it's been updated since I chatted about this last time. Then how to rank in social search, which I think is what everybody wants to know, is like how do you get your brand ranking? And then types of creator content that will help your brand rank in social search. So with that, I'm excited to dive in and jump into the state of social SEO. So in 2022 is when we first started talking about this, and that's because a Google executive it made an offhanded comment about how 40% of young people actually go to Google Maps or Google Search if they want to go if instead of TikTok and Instagram. So with that being said, now we fast forward to 2025, social search is bigger than ever. So Gen Z consumers use TikTok for its search, and 51% favorite over Google. So it's kind of crazy how much it's evolved over time, and how it's so many, from millennials all the way Gen Z, now Gen Alpha, just more and more keep searching on on TikTok and Instagram instead of Google. And sorry if you could hear in the background, my Google just went off because I'm saying Google too much. So I'll try to shut that down. But that being said, social media product discovery. So 44% of Gen Z use social media to find brands daily. 66% of all consumers do social media research before purchasing a product, and 67% of Gen Z use TikTok and Instagram to research in-store purchases. So I like to show some like real stats that have come out recently. So these are all in the last year, these stats here, where it's not just a phase anymore. This is here to stay. And if your brand is not ranking on social search, you're missing out on a huge brand discovery opportunity. So from questions to commerce, consumers prefer video content. So you have, I like to show like side by side if you're going to compare different like search results. Go to Google, it's very stagnant. Natural dog treats. You just see some photos and some images, and you can kind of click through them. Versus when you search for natural dog treats on Instagram and TikTok, way more compelling. Great bite-sized video content. I instantly get to see a real dog seeing how they like the product, a human actually explaining why one product is better than the other. It's like not a surprise when you kind of see them side to side why consumers are preferring this short form video content to Google search. That said, you'll notice I'll talk about this a little later in the presentation, but as a reminder, Google does own YouTube, and I do think they're pushing YouTube Shorts to come up more frequently in the Google search results. So I do think Google is not going to just sit on their hands here, and they're going to really also evolve and probably have ways where they pull more of that short form video up. They also even will show in Google search results. Sometimes TikTok videos will show up in Google search results. So Google is trying to compete, but it's just so hard when you see the data of like how many people are actually going to Reels and Instagram as well. So I'll talk a little bit too about how YouTube Shorts is going to starting to enter the chat and starting to be a part of that as well. And we're also seeing some great results in terms of incorporating YouTube Shorts into your social SEO strategy. Um, Now, understanding the social SEO also involves understanding the funnel. So, as a marketer, which probably most of you on this call are marketers, you recommend or you will recognize this funnel. So you have the awareness phase. So this is like first the consumer has to even just become aware that your product is part of the solution. So they're going to be searching specific very broad key phrases. Then they're going to start going into, okay, let me consider which product is right for me, and then ultimately make their decision. And I always like to start here because as you're level setting and thinking about social SEO, the keywords kind of fall into these three buckets that you're going to want to rank for, because ultimately you want your product to come up as the solution so that they can buy. But you need content in all of these phases, or you need your product coming up in all of these phases of the consumer search journey. From a perspective of kind of an example here, so like a beauty example. Someone might say how to get rid of bags under your eyes or dark circles under your eyes, and they're going to start searching these things because they're like, man, I've noticed I have these like some like dark shadows under my eyes. How do I get rid of these? Like they just won't go away. As they start searching, they're going to start realizing and see content from creators and consumers, and they're going to start noticing, oh wow, this person's using something called a dark circle eye cream, and this person's using an eye color corrector. So then they're going to start seeing like, oh, what do I like? What is the right decision for me? Is it because my eyes are dry, or do I want those like caffeine creams that or things like that? And then once they start watch enough content in that interest consideration phase, then they're going to get to their decision phase where they're like, okay, now I'm between a couple products. I want to like search those key phrases that are very brand and product specific. So maybe they saw a lot of people using the Estee Lauder eye cream. So now they're going to then search that and see a handful of people also reviewing that content. So I think it's really interesting way to look at how you go after your keywords and where is your brand? Like, is your brand part of these conversations happening? Because that's what your social SEO strategy should be, is getting you part of these conversations. And then I wanted to give one more example, just showing from a fashion example, for example. So like awareness, I'm looking for some stylish jeans. I don't know what I want. I just want it to be stylish or comfortable or flattering jeans for petite women or something like that. And you're just like, oh, I just want to search, just trying to see what's out there. Then you start seeing a bunch of women post about, oh, actually, wide leg, high waisted jeans are the most flattering. So then you're like, oh, great. Now what brand is that? And then you get to Madewell's women petite, super wide leg jeans. And then you want to see a bunch of women until you find somebody who looks like your size to see what size she picked. Like this is how the consumer's journey is shifting. It's very similar to what happened on Google, only now that people are wanting to shop from real consumers, right? And other creators who are posting this type of content. So because of that, it's like, how do you become part of that conversation? We found after helping many brands who use our software to help them scale their influencer collabs, and also seeing it firsthand with different clients that I've worked with, is that ranking requires content at scale. You need lots of hooks in the water, right? And what's so interesting too about the search results is it's not the person with the most followers popping up when you search for something. The other day, I was searching for like rare beauty blush. I was in that decision phase, and I searched that, and it wasn't Selena Gomez, who she has probably actually, I think she's like the most followed person on social media, or top of it. She was nowhere to be found when I was searching for this, because I was searching, and I knew TikTok knew this, they wanted to show me real people. So most of the women that were popping up when I was searching were women with only a couple thousand followers, with maybe only even 1,000 views on their content. But it doesn't matter because it was specific to me. And that shows you why it's so important to get so much, like, you want content at scale. So if you're a beauty company, you want to have people who have all different foundation shades that are posting about you so that you can make sure that you're searching and satisfying that. If you're a clothes company, all sorts of people of different shapes and sizes posting, right? And you need to make sure you're really casting that wide net. It's really a numbers game, to see real big impact as well. And then social search is not just a trend. I like to throw these stats in again, just because I think it's really helpful too, as you're talking to your team or even your boss or leadership, if they're not understanding how big of an opportunity this is. Social is the top brand discovery channel for 46% of all consumers. And Google shopping searches are down. They're down 9%. And social shopping searches are up 9%. So it's like you can see this exact correlation between people are going off of Google, and they're opening TikTok and Instagram. And then going back to 71% of Gen Z say that it's where they most find their products, and 33% of millennials prefer social media search engines for shopping as well. And then people commonly ask, what industries is this most common in? This is a survey that was done asking where you go to search for different categories. So you can see gift ideas and hair and makeup were top in terms of Instagram and TikTok being the first place that Gen Z goes to. So this study was specifically looking at Gen Z, but you can see like 40%, all of them straight there. So, and even going all the way down to even local services and restaurants and bars, which Google used to have a monopoly. When you search for restaurants, people go on Google Maps. People are now going on TikTok and saying, what are restaurants around me? Best restaurants in San Francisco. And so it's really interesting to see how it's impacting all the different categories across the board. So key takeaways, shoppers have definitely adapted and been drawn straight to social search, and it's giving them what they want. Social is peeling commercial traffic away from Google, and video content is key for reaching those modern consumers and getting that at scale. So now jumping into it. So now we've laid the foundation. Now let's jump into, how does social SEO work and how can you get to start ranking? So from just going back to the basics again, social SEO stands for social search engine optimization. So thinking of social platforms as search engines and not just distribution channels. I would say up till a few years ago, people were like, oh yeah, you just go to Instagram to kind of discover, scroll through your feed, things like that. Now people are literally going to Instagram and TikTok to search key phrases as if they are a search engine. And I think that just even that mindset shift as a marketer and understanding that it's a search engine will already start changing the way you think about your strategy with these platforms. Next, identifying search trends and volume will help you to inform your organic and paid strategies. So we'll also talk about how paid is very important to layer on if you want social SEO to be successful. And we'll talk about some of the strategies around that in a bit. And then lastly, creating social content to satisfy search intent and rank for relevant search terms. So going back to our funnel, thinking through that buyer's journey, thinking through what they're searching for, making sure you have content that fulfills all of those questions. And you're doing it in a way that's optimized and at scale so that you can start filling those gaps and ranking for those different pieces as well. So, so what it is social SEO and what is it not? So what it is naturally weaving keywords, which keywords are those key phrases that people search. And if you're in the SEO phrase or space, you know that a keyword, even though it sounds like one word, it's actually a keyword can be several phrases. So like best shampoo for curly hair is a keyword. So weaving those keywords that people are searching for into content is what you want to do. And you want to do it naturally, speaking to your audience's pain points, uncovering timely trends and insights, and then optimizing the campaigns based on that keyword research and your feedback of how your campaigns are performing. And I think that's also an area where a lot of people lack, is they try to put the keywords in, but then they don't go back to see what have we seen as a result from that. And then what social SEO is not is just cramming a bunch of keywords into your captions. Like if you want to rank for best shampoo for curly hair, you should not just put it on every single video. That does not make sense. If the video itself does not explain why or answer that question of like, why this is a best shampoo for curly hair, you should not be cramming that in there at all. Um, you also don't want to take shortcuts to outsmart the algorithm. People used to do this in the early days of Google SEO, where they would just cram a bunch of keywords and try to like game the system. The system will figure it out. If you're not creating authentic content that's solving a problem and answering a question, eventually the algorithms are going to knock your content down. So at the end of the day, you should be educating and really making sure your content aligns with the keyword that you're trying to rank for, leading to this last point of you don't want to sacrifice creativity or authenticity for that optimization. Optimization is important, but it still needs to have those other two pieces for it to work, especially with the way that the social algorithms work right now. So some examples of social SEO on different platforms. So you can see a screenshot of YouTube Shorts. So like trying to find the right foundation matching, coming up and seeing all the different short form content. Pregnancy pillows. So that's an example on Instagram, seeing all the different videos that you can click through. And then an example on TikTok we pulled here is like best toothpaste for whitening, which is pretty interesting because on TikTok they even pull up like others searched for that type of stuff as well, which shows how much TikTok is really leaning into leading the pack in terms of search, as well. So, how to approach social media SEO? And it really goes back to that mindset of social media as a discovery channel, not just distribution, and really thinking of it that way. So, you want to identify those relevant search terms to inform your content, and think about how that layers into your positioning in ads as well. Because if you run ads on TikTok and Instagram, they will also, and you can also place them in the social search bucket too. Now, know what is coming up with consumers and search your brand so you know how to prioritize. I can't tell you how many times I ask a brand, have you ever, people you say, have you ever Googled yourself? Well, have you ever like TikTok searched your brand name? What's coming up there? Is there anything like damage control that needs to happen? Is there a bunch of creators posting or consumers posting about how they don't like your product for some reason? Do you need to jump into those conversations? Make sure you start there, and you're also like start by searching for the phrases that your consumers are searching for and see how your brand is coming up and how your brand is coming up for branded search terms as well. Um, and so that goal is to create content that satisfies both your audience and the algorithm in that order. So always like your audience first, the algorithm second, put it together, and that's how we can really optimize for that social SEO. And then when you're thinking of like, okay, what should I be looking for to see if I'm moving the needle? Here are some KPIs that our platform looks at and that we recommend looking at to see how you're ranking for social SEO over time. So you obviously have the view count. Views is really interesting because especially with social SEO, a piece of content can be ranking in search for years. So if you end up a creator ends up creating a piece of content that's like, you know, best jeans for petite women and it really keeps coming up, it might be a year later and it's still coming up and you'll still see it garnering those views over time. Interactions, engagement rate, reach, saves. Saves are a really great indicator of purchase intent. So although of course people could be saving from the For You page, a lot of people save at a higher rate when it's on the search page because like they're saving it for later so they can buy it. So it's a really good indicator of purchase intent. Obviously mentions, so people tagging your brand in comments, social rankings, Google rankings. This is really interesting. We've noticed brands that run social SEO optimized campaigns on TikTok will actually, if they're doing it at a high enough scale, see a bump in Google search rankings as well. So it's like really come full circle now where you can almost impact your Google search rankings by increasing your uh, how much you're popping up on TikTok. And it makes sense, right? Think of all those brands that have gone viral, or think of like a bunch of people are searching a specific topic and you're coming up. They're then going to go to Google to purchase it, right? And research some more. So that buyer's journey still jumps all over the place. So it's an interesting byproduct over there as well. Some other pieces is the number of posts. So how many posts do you have going live that use the keyword you're trying to rank for? That's a really great way to see how much impact that you're making. So when brands are using our platform, a lot of times they're like, okay, well, if I'm getting 500 posts, 600 posts, I want to make sure all 600 are using that key phrase. And our system makes sure of that and automates that process. And then product reviews are another kind of like that secondary output that you'll see as a bump as well. And then ultimately, it's not on here, but sales is at the end of the day what we're all after. And you will see those sales too, typically as a byproduct of it. So now getting into the nitty gritty, how do you rank in social search? It's great. Obviously you want to be there, but how do you rank there? So when we look at Google, Google has over 200 unique ranking factors that you can optimize for when you're trying to get your article ranking. But what does TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts look like? So there are still a lot of different variables that go into it, but we like to zoom in on the factors you can control. And the four main things that you can control, especially when you're thinking of utilizing creators for scaling your social SEO, is thinking about hashtags, which is like, so in your brief, what hashtags are you requiring? What keywords are you requiring that they say in their content? The thumbnail, if you want to make any recommendations, because thumbnail is what, when you go to the search results, the thumbnail becomes more important than on the For You page, right? So making sure that the thumbnail pulls people in and that they can read it, that it says something compelling. And then creators posting about your brand, like the volume of it is going to be the other thing that you can control. Like how many are you going to get posting, and that strategy behind it. So that's what we're going to talk about that. So bringing it full circle, really getting social posts at scale is the only way to consistently rank on social search. And we know that creator content and consumer content just ranks better. I think the last stat was like 3 to 4x the engagement of a brand account. So that's why using creators is such a great tactic and strategy for increasing your social SEO versus just trying to do it all on your own with your own branded account. So why is that? And also, why is it better than maybe using a macro influencer? It's because more content gives you more opportunities to rank. So also, every single one of us searching is going to get a different search result. So TikTok knows they're going to show me search results that are more specific to me and women that look like me. And I'm going to also search key terms of things that look like me. So I might want, foundation for fair skin, right? So I'm going to get different results. You need to make sure that, there's content ranking for that, or like jeans for tall women versus short women. That's going back to that, like more content equals more opportunities to rank, versus like a macro. You might rank once and it might cover one piece, but it's a very different tactic. It's also similar to if you wanted to do this strategy just using your own brand account. That's why creators and using UGC is so important for social SEO. So building a micro influencer strategy to rank. So algorithms consistently rank creator content above branded content. So that's what I was just saying before. So the more UGC you have, the more juice for the algorithm. And when it comes to those factors, that some's in your control, some's out, engagement is a huge ranking factor. So that's why you can use micro influencers, get enough hooks in the water to like scale that maximum engagement. And then you want to have those influencers optimize their content for SEO using hashtags and keywords. So that is, I think, one of the biggest missed opportunities when brands are already running these influencer campaigns, is making sure you have a keyword that you're requiring them to brief into all of their content. So with Statusphere, we do have that optimized like right in there and make sure, and it automates the process. But if you're doing it on your own, you're going to want to make sure you monitor for that. So we pulled together this little framework that we always show to brands when they're thinking about social SEO, when they're using Statusphere, and we're like, here's what you have in your control, and here's how like a framework for how to set up your campaigns. So you want to think about the product that you're going to be putting. So that's like, great. What is the product, the SKU that you're going to promote? Next, what's the campaign around it? So is the campaign like, what are the kind of part of the funnel that are you trying to tackle the awareness phase, the education phase, the decision phase, like thinking about that? Then once you decide that, you want to research your hashtags and your keywords. So I'm going to show you some tools shortly for that to make that a little bit easier, but you're going to want to figure out what are those hashtags and keywords that you want to attach to the campaign for the creators to use, to make sure that they're all using that. And then lastly is looking at trends. It is very helpful to, and like, it will expedite your rankings faster if you can see if there's like a trend going a certain way. So if you research and you can see in Google Trends or in some of the TikTok search tools that like a new category, maybe it's like dewy skin, is starting to trend and starting to have more searches happening, you probably should jump on that and make that part of this campaign and keyword strategy, right? So like clean girl makeup was trending for quite a while. Like we want like the big overarching trends, like being able to jump on that and then pull keywords off of it will also help you with your search success in social search. So those are all of the pieces of the first part. Then you have your post velocity, your engagement, and your content volume. So when you're thinking about setting up your campaign, great. I have my campaign, my product, my hashtag, my trends, my briefing is done. Now I want to think of like, what is the cadence that we're going to launch this and get this rolling? So how many posts are we going to get in a certain amount of time, and also that engagement all hitting at the same time, which helps you rank in that social search. So we even will recommend with brands, if they're not really sure about one of the that first section, the product, campaign, hashtags, keywords, like which one's going to be the best, because they're going to do hundreds of posts to be able to hit this goal. We will even recommend them doing an A/B test and having, like, a handful of creators post about one product and another product and see which one works best or which keyword works best too. So that's also, if you end up wanting to book a time with our team, we can let you know recommendations of how to leverage the platform to do those type of A/B tests as well, so that you're not putting all your eggs in one basket of something you don't have the data for yet. Because I find a lot of brands, they don't know yet what trend to do or what campaign that they want to do. So doing an A/B test where you have a set of creators do one and a set of creators do the other, analyze the results of that, and then do your big push after with the big velocity, can also help you, especially use your dollars wisely. Um, so with that, we have seen incredible results. I did want to like pull like real data from a brands that we worked with, where they actually saw their branded keywords go up 117% over 3 months. And what was really cool is we actually monitored the increase in social search associated with those product keywords. It increased 80%. So the overall product on was 117%. And then going back to like the side effects, we saw a 70% increase in Google search from products featured in the Statusphere campaign. So the campaign was only run on TikTok, and the brand actually saw an increase over on Google for those exact products. And they were doing nothing else, by the way, just doing this campaign on TikTok. So it was so cool to see how those kind of played together. And they also got over 33 million total social engagements. So it really shows how, thinking through that, doing the A/B test, and really doing that content and volume at scale can really be a huge impact as a channel for you and really bump some of your product searches. So you're like, great, now I know what social SEO is. How do I actually identify those keywords so that I can make the most of it and get people getting eyeballs on my product? So there's a few different ways that we go about this. So you want to use search and performance data. Um, Luckily, one of the best, cheapest, actually free tools you have is autocomplete. You have Google autocomplete, but also TikTok has an autocomplete and Instagram has an autocomplete. So you'll see here, like interactive dog toys, you'll see like all these recommendations come up. So homemade interactive dog toys, dog stimulating ideas, treat dispensing dog toy ball, like all of those others search for are amazing keywords for you to start looking at and mining for as you identify which one's best for you. And before you pick which keyword you want to go after, you definitely want to like look at what's coming up for that keyword, and seeing where you have the opportunity to kind of come in there and get your creators creating better content that ranks for that keyword. But when you're in that like super high level search phase, you're going to want to just start by using the TikTok, Instagram, Google autocomplete search as a great way to just start seeing what is happening there as well. Also, I recommend analyzing your top performing videos to find relevant ideas as well. So if you have some videos that you're noticing are getting you kind of that search traffic, you probably want to create more of those, maybe create some more hooks in the water around that. Next, uncover topics and video ideas that people actually want to see. So how do you know that? You want to see what the volume is looking for. So you can look at videos your competitors post is a great way to do it, especially like if they're like large enough competitors that are ranking, like what are they ranking for? So do you want to like take them down? Clearly, like especially if you're kind of going head to head with them, you might want to do a blast of content around a key phrase to kind of knock them out of first place. But then you can also conduct your own keyword research, just as you would for a website or a blog post. So there's tools like Ahrefs, I think is how you say it. They have a free keyword search tool where you can find trending topics on Google, YouTube, Amazon. So although that's not directly on TikTok, you can see it on, like, there's a lot of correlations between what's ranking on Google and what's ranking on TikTok, especially for those top search makeup, fashion, lifestyle, all those type of products. Next is TikTok's Creative Center. So by going to TikTok, you can go to the horse's mouth and actually see what's ranking on there. They have more tools, more and more tools that they're launching all the time around search. TikTok has really built a really incredible search engine, even compared to Instagram. Instagram's great, but TikTok is definitely a few levels ahead in terms of some of the resources they have. Tools like Ahrefs have the free keyword search. We have TikTok's Creative Center, and then we have the others search for, which is gives you those suggestions, which I still think is one of the absolute best tools. And then lastly, I do want to call out something that's new, that TikTok has new-ish in the last few months, which is the Creator Search Insights tool, which is super cool. And I have a slide on that coming up. But there gives you a lot of really great options and opportunities there as well. And then I also just want to call out, just in case my Wi-Fi goes out again, Sam, who is our producer for this webinar, just text me if you lose me again, but maybe my computer will let me know. Okay, so jumping into recent TikTok SEO features. So over the last year, TikTok has rolled out a lot of really cool features that can help you find keywords. They have keyword trends. So going into that TikTok Creative Center, but then also going into those search insights, you can see traffic sources reporting even for your own content, and the creators can see that too. And then they also have AI tools to create search-friendly captions. So you might have seen this in their ads tool. So definitely check that out as well, because the ads actually will also show up in search. So it's great that are really good to optimize those also for TikTok search. And then lastly, TikTok also added a search value metric to its creator monetization program. So I like to just point out all these things because you can see how much TikTok is actually investing in this SEO piece, which to me says it's only going to get better and better for the consumer use, which means more and more people are going to use it. The other thing I wanted to call out that I think is a lot of people sleep on or don't even realize is like amazing is that TikTok has this cool feature where it will automatically add a keyword to a comment. And by the way, I've looked it up a bunch of times. There's no one really knows why or how TikTok picks these keywords, but I think it picks it based on, or like an assumption is that it's picking these keywords based on how many people are searching for it. So you'll see in this comment here, someone wrote not the e-collar on the puppy or something like that. So e-collar, you see how it has that like little magnifying glass. You click that, it will actually take you directly to search to see all of the search volume for e-collar. So if you are a brand that is lucky enough to have a lot of comments and engagements on their posts or on your creator posts, it's really important to like mine these comments and look for which search key phrases are come up, because you want to make sure that when someone clicks one of those in the comments that you then are showing up for that key phrase as well, especially if it has to do with your product. So definitely make sure to look for these little like blue links that appear in the comments. Like I said, it's completely, I don't want to say completely random, but TikTok decides when it wants to add these. And the assumption is that TikTok is adding them when they see a bunch of people searching for a key phrase. So it's like a really good indicator. And if it's on a video about your product, you want to make sure you're coming up for that later. And then the other thing I wanted to do a little bit of a deep dive on was the creator search insights that I talked about earlier. So to access this, you're going to open your TikTok app and you're going to search in the search bar, creator search insights in the TikTok search bar. And there's actually these different buttons you can click on. And one of them is called content gap. And the content gap is pretty interesting because it'll actually show you high demand topics that have limited content. So it essentially, TikTok is telling you, hey, this search phrase, people are searching it at a much higher volume and there's actually not enough content to go around. So it's like I made a screenshot. I actually just took the screenshot yesterday, but you can see like Lush mascara right now is trending upward, but there's like not a lot of content around it. So it's actually recommending that you create content around that as well. So you can see all of these different ones right on your app. So just open like I said, open TikTok, add that phrase in, and you can see that there. Some recent Instagram SEO features. So although TikTok is quite a bit ahead of Instagram in terms of a lot of the data that they can provide, Instagram is still investing in this as well. And they added in their AI search feature, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen, and that's kind of playing into their search results as well. So they are also investing in this too. And then you can kind of see what that search results looks like, a little bit of a different feed view, but they're kind of layering in their AI search with it as well. Also, Instagram broadens search results for hashtags as well. They did that recently in the last year, where hashtags have a lot more um, search weight than they used to have. Okay, next is thinking evergreen. So your content, and if you're doing it right, will hopefully rank for a very long time. And if you're consistently getting these creators posting, but what you can do to help that is think evergreen with your content. So you don't want to jump on trends. Are important, but you don't want to be too trendy. Like, it should be more still answering that question. So like interactive dog toys, that phrase, people are going to be searching today, tomorrow, and probably a year from now. So when you think of these like keywords, you want to pick things that are more evergreen. And then going back to the stages of the funnel, this is like the same example I gave earlier, but I wanted to show it again now that we've talked about keywords and finding the keywords. Everything on this screen to the right are all keywords. So if you find that, TikTok in that recommended search says how to get rid of bags under your eyes is one of those recommended phrases, that will be the keyword that you then have all the creators use. If you wanted to go after best dark circle eye cream, that would be the phrase you use. So this is where, having yourself and your team really put yourself in your consumer's shoes and think about all the questions they're asking for as they're going through this process. So now, hashtags. How do these help with rankings? So hashtags don't guarantee engagement on Instagram or TikTok, but what they do is they tell algorithms what your content is. So they really are tags in that way. Like, you're tagging your content and you're kind of helping the algorithm push it toward telling what's in your content right away. So ranking in hashtags helps your content get served and recommended by the algorithms in the best way. So you want to make sure, first of all, never use hashtags that don't have to do with your content, because that will very much hurt you. Because what happens is TikTok or Instagram will first assume that you're being accurate and start using that hashtag to serve to a certain audience. So let's say you did put hashtag dog supplements in your caption. And then it started serving it to people who they think they want dog supplements, but there was no dog supplement in your caption. That will very quickly, or no ode to it at all of dog supplements, it'll very quickly cause the algorithm to not want to show it anymore. So you want to make sure it's always accurate to what is in the video. And then in terms of the sweet spot, TikTok says that 3 to 5 is the sweet spot for most brands per video, and Instagram is 3 to 6. And then beyond that, it kind of is just like keyword stuffing, and they don't really reward much beyond that. So 3 to 5 is the sweet spot for TikTok, 3 to 6 for Instagram. When we're telling brands to work with creators, we recommend doing 3 hashtags as a requirement, and then leaving some room for the creators to put their own hashtags in as well, which I think is a good way to kind of get the middle ground of like the creators putting ones that they think are important to their content, because really, they know their audience best. Next is keyword placement. So great, you have your keyword. Where do you put it? You can put it in, your organic social content and in ads. I will say, like, also an underrated thing is taking keywords and making sure they're in ads, because there are ways that TikTok especially will serve that content based on those keywords. Um, Keywords and voiceovers are important. So this is really interesting, both with Instagram and definitely with TikTok. They listen to the voiceover and it kind of like transcribes it. So TikTok knows what phrases are being said in the video. So even if it isn't in the caption, it knows what's being said in the video. Same with like those text overlays. So putting them there is a great spot to let the algorithm know that this content is about that keyword. Captions is the next one. That's probably the most obvious. Video thumbnails, descriptions, titles. This is more for like YouTube as well, making sure it's in the description and the title. Comments, so even having people comment can help boost it. And social bios also, making sure it all ties back is it kind of looks at that as well. So when you're thinking about your own branded account, making sure if there's any keywords that should be in your social bio. So these are some of just the places you can sprinkle keywords. And when you're really thinking about creators, I recommend making some requirements in your briefing to use keywords in the caption or the voiceover as a requirement. You don't want to make it like too robotic or over the top, but that's what you're going to think there. Next is paid ads and social search. So, like I said, ads rank in social search. So, you can sponsor your top performing creator post to increase exposure and engagement to boost SEO. And you can incorporate those same keywords and hashtags that you researched into your ads as well. So, in TikTok specifically, you can go to the search ads toggle and you can make sure that your placement is also going in search ads. And we've heard brands have really great results with this as well, too. And then one other just like bonus note is that if your products are on TikTok Shop, they'll also rank on search results. There's actually like a TikTok Shop like search is like a whole nother piece of TikTok. So making sure you optimize for that as well. And then test TikTok search ads. So getting into the nitty gritty of a true search ad. This is what they look like. You've probably seen them. They're pretty, they blend very much in. They just have that little sponsored overlay and it has like a little shop now button. But brands running TikTok search ads plus in-feed ads saw 20% higher conversions in a study that was done. So if you are not using TikTok search ads, I would highly recommend looking into that as part of your strategy. And then on Instagram, Instagram has a very similar search ad feature. It's a little different just because the Instagram search is different on there, but that you could run a like 2x2 tile. So like the one that is there. I will say it's just not as, it's not at the level of TikTok search ads when it comes to keywords, but at the same time, there are good case studies around utilizing these. And then last tip I have here is promote and cross promote on YouTube Shorts. So getting back to YouTube Shorts from the beginning, YouTube Shorts is trying to compete. It's definitely the much smaller little brother or sister right now in terms of short form video search. Now, obviously, normal YouTube is a really great long form. Lots of searches happening on there. It's also a big search behemoth. But the YouTube Shorts is their newer feature that's a competitor to TikTok or Reels. And they are trying to boost this. And we've been actually doing some testing on our own account. And I wanted to show it here where we've just been our social media manager. Her name is also Kristen. So you can see her on the screen here. She's been doing a great job. She has been testing reposting just our normal TikTok posts over on YouTube Shorts just so we can start playing around and see the results. And we've even seen a few of them hit where they're performing kind of similar to TikTok and Reels, where we don't have very many followers right now on YouTube, but we're getting way more views beyond that. So you'll see that screenshot there. We got 31,000 views on one of the videos that she reposted from TikTok over on YouTube Shorts. So I think that's really cool. Also, a pro tip, make sure that you don't have the watermark when you're posting it because studies show that YouTube doesn't like that. They don't want the TikTok watermark over there, but you can repost over there just to start testing the waters. And I do think that YouTube is going to be, we're still wondering what's happening with TikTok long term, but YouTube is definitely a horse in the race. And you can also see we're seeing already results from that in terms of discovery. So it's pretty crazy that I think we only have, a handful of followers on YouTube and we got 31,000 views on one of our shorts. So I think what this proves is it's a little different than the YouTube long form videos where you really need a lot of subscribers to get views. The YouTube shorts, you don't need that many subscribers. So it's pretty cool. And that said, I did also want to note, especially for our Statusphere customers that I know are on this webinar. So I see a lot of you on the list that we do have that new YouTube Shorts add-on where you can, right in the platform, require the creators to repost their content on YouTube Shorts so you can get some of those benefits. So just a really cool tool, especially for all of our Statusphere customers on this call to consider. If you haven't talked to your customer success manager about it, you might want to incorporate it into some of your campaigns coming up just to really maximize that ROI and start getting your footprint on YouTube Shorts if you haven't already. So that's a cool new feature. We just launched it last month, so we're really excited about it. So next and last section is, okay, you have your keywords, you have your hashtags. Now thinking about the kind of briefings and types of creator content, kind of like that campaign I was talking about, what types of content are best to get your brand ranking? So number one is how-to content. How-to content is great because it's like really big part of that awareness funnel. So like, how to get shiny hair, how to clean my makeup brushes if you're makeup cleaner, how to, get rid of dead ends for my hair, or things like that, or the remove the dark circles like we talked about before. Coming up with this how-to content are natural ways for creators to incorporate keywords into their content in a way that the algorithm loves. So how-to content works really great. So when you're thinking about briefing, consider briefing how-to content. Next is explainer content, similar to how-to content, but in the world of TikTok and short form video, the term is called edutainment. So, which is very big. So it's educational and entertaining. So it answers that question, why, so did you know style videos, which have that like hook, but also are getting you to put in keywords? What are ceramides? Best ways to declutter. Maybe you have like some sort of organizer tool. So you want to create some content about best ways to declutter. Brush tips for shedding dogs because you have a dog brush, for example. So thinking about that edutainment. Next is reviews and recommendations. So videos that are just reviewing the product. This is going to go down to your consideration decision phase. This is where people are finally making their decision. They want to see that comparisons versus content. They want to see like the reviews and recommendations that you have, like the creators opening it, using it for a few days and talking about it. Which then brings me to the versus content. This has always been about like fan favorites and a crowd favorite. I know when I'm finally going to make my decision, I'm going to go to do this versus this, right? So this eyeliner versus that eyeliner, or like a thinking through high waisted versus skinny jeans, things like that. Versus content is really great because it's a natural keyword that people are searching when they're trying to make a decision of what to buy. So if you can brief creators on using versus content, it will naturally also help you rank in the algorithm for those really important key phrases. Um, and then I just wanted to wrap up by showing a few case studies of brands that we've seen this do really well. One brand that uses Statusphere Viore got over 2,000 pieces of content that they really optimized around certain key phrases, and they were able to see a very large bump in terms of their customer acquisition, and it being like one of their top channels for customer acquisition was via getting ranking around these search terms. But what was really cool is the CMO was telling us that he also took that content and then used it in ads as well to really maximize the ROI, which is why I think the beauty of using micro influencers at scale, optimizing for UGC, and then layering on those ads is just like, such a great and perfect strategy to get this channel working for you. Oh, and we do have that full case study. I see Sam popping it up there. So you can view that case study now by clicking that button. And then here's another brand. We work with a lot of very larger brands, so I can't say the exact brand, but I can show you the data, the real data from it. And this was a brand that was struggling with getting brand awareness around a certain product, and they did an optimized campaign, and they saw the search volume, increase 80%, their social search volume when they ran key social SEO optimized campaigns. They saw their Google search volume go up 70%. And that was by getting over 750 creators posting, kind of getting that velocity that we talked about in that kind of infrastructure that I was talking about for the ideal way to run a social SEO optimized campaign. So super cool on that front. So to recap, I do want to shout out that if you do want to get a demo, see how all of that works, definitely I sign up. I think Sam will pop that discovery call so you can chat with our team. What our platform does just as a whole is we get that guaranteed rights ready content. You can target based on over 300 creator data points. We have streamlined and integrated fulfillment for all of that as well. So we can really help you scale this social SEO piece. We have smart match technology that optimizes campaigns over time. We also have a community feature, which is new, that optimizes for scale. And then we do have those TikTok and Instagram ad integrations. So we are really a platform that was built by influencer marketers for influencer marketers. So we know all the ins and outs. So we'd love to chat with you to see if it would be a good fit. And then lastly, once again, if you are one of our current customers, consider doing the social SEO optimization. This is a screenshot of the portal. You would just select that when you're setting up your campaign, and be sure to talk to your customer success manager if you need help setting any of that up. They are happy to walk you through it. But with that, I know I only have a few minutes left because of our little technical difficulties earlier, but I'll answer a couple questions really quickly. And I also wanted to give a shout out that we are going to do a YouTube Shorts, that new feature that I talked about. We're doing a quick little webinar on that coming up. So if you scan the QR code, you can sign up if you want to learn more about our YouTube Shorts new feature. But that being said, Sam, are there any high level questions? I can maybe take two before we log off. Okay, from Farah, how much of this social SEO rankings applies to brands positioning themselves versus creators? That's a great question. So I think it's really important for brands to also position themselves this way. On the flip side though, very rarely when or even as a consumer searching, have I ever seen, if I search best eye cream for under eyes, it's not the brand account that's normally showing up in the rankings. Now, it definitely doesn't hurt and you might get lucky, but studies show that creators have a better chance of ranking than brand accounts. So if becomes a bigger part of your strategy, I recommend making sure that creators are a part of it too. That said, you want to make sure that, just from a marketing and branding as a whole, that you have your messaging down and you have content around those like awareness, consideration, decision phases, so that when when consumers are ready to purchase, that you have content to help push them down the funnel. So I would say like it's still important for both, but if social SEO is your true goal, enlisting creators is one of the only ways we've really seen to organically rank on social search. Um, from Natasha, so you should create ads like an organic post, then to get them to rank. Oh, interesting. So you're saying when you create ads, I'm I'm saying that you should make sure you incorporate some of those keywords as well. And then I also recommend, it's going to depend on the platform, but for TikTok, if you turn on, it's in the ad, this gets more technical, but in the ads feature, you can actually turn on your placement of your ad to be in TikTok search, and then it will feed it in the TikTok search it thinks is most relevant. And it does that based on the keywords that you put into your ad. So that's why it's still important to think through those keywords as well. Too. So hopefully that answers your question, Natasha. So just saying that. And then another phrase I love from TikTok is they always say, make TikToks, not ads, which I think is a very just important reminder too. It should really feel authentic to the platform as well. I'll do one more question. Do you see more search success by delivering content directly through creators page, or does it also work successfully from a brand account? I kind of mentioned this maybe in my other question answer, but to be more direct, it works best through a creator account. Studies show that, I think I might have the data somewhere. It's like 40% more or multiple times more engagement happens through creator accounts versus brand accounts. Unfortunately, that's just the name of the game. That said, I mean, if you think of brands that have built an incredible social following, like a Duolingo or things like that, and really invest a ton in their platform, they can rank kind of okay on social search. But if you really want it to take it to the next level, you need enough hooks in the water, which is really hard to do with one account, which is why even a macro influencer won't work, much less a brand account. So it's really those micros and getting like, 100 people, 500. We actually see, really good results, probably 600 plus as a sweet spot of getting an army of people all using the same keyword at the same time. So with that, I think we're right at time. Thank you all for staying and sticking out through any of the technical issues as well. We will be sending out that recording within 24 hours. And you can always email back to that recording if you do have questions I didn't get to. And I'm happy, like those questions will go straight to me and I'm happy to answer them. But I hope you all enjoyed it and I hope you have a great rest of your week.